no. Louis, don't do that. Let me tell you what this video isn't. It is not, is it okay to still like Louis CK as a person? No, that's not what this is. Look, most comedians are bad people. That's why it's really hard to enjoy this genre. This is the only art form where some people, I mean, not the only art form. That's the thing about art, is a lot of people who do it are like damaged people, broken people. And that's not why they're good at what they do. They're good at what they do because they like tried really hard and they studied the craft and they dedicated their time to something. Maybe having nuance, having balance, being a little broken can help. I think John Mulaney made a great point at a Robin Williams tribute show that Netflix put on, I believe. And John Mulaney himself, somebody who, struggles with addiction and I guess just being an asshole, which is funny. But yeah, that's John making the point that Robin Williams wasn't prolific because he was broken. He's just better at comedy than you. But Louis. All right, let me start off by saying, before all the stuff that went down, all the stuff that came out about Louis, he was one of my faves. He was one of the greats. I had his material in such high regard, and I still do. I think the early 2000s, the era of stand-up that Louis was popularized in, was an era of stand-up that was really pushing boundaries as far as like getting into the nitty-gritty of some harsh realities, some dark truths. Stand-up does this thing where it kind of goes back and forth between, the squeaky clean and the, the raunchy stuff. I don't know if I've mentioned that in any of my previous videos. If the 90s was Seinfeld, the 2000s was Louis. And a lot of the material that made Louis so good does have a different tone now. Like, I don't know, man. Louis CK had a lot of jokes about masturbating.
Masturbating's really important to you.
Yeah, it is. It keeps me sane. I'm a good citizen. I'm a good father. I recycle and I masturbate. And I'm proud of it. And God's happy. And later I'm going to masturbate and I'm going to think about you. And there's nothing you can do about it.
I don't think R. Kelly wrote a song, I want to pee on a 14-year-old. I want to pee. No, go ahead and clip that. But hey, Drake, fella. It's called a metaphor, dude. You don't just say in the song. All right, let me get away from it. No, but that wasn't all of Louis' material, right? No, let me go in depth into the what I'm aware of about the Louis scandal. I haven't looked into it too much, but when I was in college, I was in a communications class where I had to write a paper on a figure who was going under some controversy. And I raised my hand and I said, "Can I do the Louis CK thing?" And she goes, "What did Louis CK do?" I went, trust me.
Well, I haven't looked into it too much, but
I'm trying to do takes where I don't laugh right after. No, from what I can tell, there was 4 women in particular who came forward about stories that were all similar. Louis would either unprompted or semi-prompted start, in front of women. Some of them were coworkers. A lot of the female comics. Everyone's kind of a peer. Some people accused him of using his power to get away with some of this stuff, and that's shitty. That's not good. That's bad. That's bad stuff. There's a lot more to the story, I believe. The fact that it's not just those 4 women that happened to. There's probably more. The complicated thing is, it's not even complicated. Like Sarah Silverman even talks about, yeah, Louis would do that in front of me all the time. But, I'd watch, I'd laugh. She told a story about like her and him getting like naked in an elevator together. I don't know. And Louis, he made a statement, that was a very, very, like, in my opinion, like a very well thought out statement. Seemed very, very genuine. It seemed heartfelt. It seemed remorseful. And I was like, damn. I mean, no apology can, mitigate the damage, but you expect an apology, right? And then in his stand-up, later he talks about it, which is interesting because I've seen Louis twice, and I'm not gonna lie, it was post-fappening. Tickets couldn't have been cheaper, fellas. I had a friend open up for him, and I'm not gonna name him. Hey, buddy, you know who you are. He's a good set. In his special, he made a statement that was funny, but still I feel like true. He goes, if you ask somebody, may I in front of you? And even if they say yes, make sure. I felt like it was a joke, but it was about like, if you're in, a situation, it's good to check in. You still into this? Consent is key, fellas. Okay? Okay? You know what I find hot? An enthusiastic yes. He does jokes in his special about being so hated. He was getting his comeuppance for doing a bad thing, so I'm sure that doesn't feel good to have the world shitting on you, And look, he did a bad thing, so he's probably getting much, much, much more hate from adults. So he was doing jokes about, he goes, I was in Europe because I felt like I had to flee the nation. He goes, yeah, it's my, thing. Everyone's got a thing. I like to in front of people, whatever. He goes, everybody knows my thing. He goes, everybody's got a thing, and everybody knows my thing. He goes, Obama knows my thing. So what am I saying? I'm saying Louis CK was one of the greats. Some not good stuff came to light that is genuinely not good. An apology was made. Is that enough? I don't know. Genuinely, I'm asking you guys in the comments down below. And in his later specials, he acknowledges it in a funny way, but I don't think the way he acknowledges it in a funny way minimizes the thing. You know, it feels like ownership was taken, but it happened. And for him not to acknowledge it in his stand-up act, like stand-up is all about authenticity. You know, stand-up is all about being yourself. Stand-up's all about like, hey, this is my perspective. This is what happened to me. You know, this is my, 3 minutes to an hour with a microphone. So what am I going to talk about? It'd be kind of insane for him not to talk about it in his stand-up, honestly. And how wild is that? Like addressing the stuff in the medium that you do. Like, could you imagine? Like, honestly, I want you to take a look at, Louis CKs apology here. And depending on this is recorded and depending on what happens in the next couple weeks, let's compare it and contrast it to Mr. Beast's apology. And if Mr. Beast's apology is more authentic than Louis', then hey, like and subscribe, brother.
I'll be the judge of that when it comes out, though.
But I don't think you can reduce an entire being into a handful of their worst moments, you know? I do believe that everybody does make mistakes, and those mistakes can, vary wildly in damage to other people. And I've known people who have made mistakes and fully hate the people they used to be, and they wanted to get better, and they did. And I think that's commendable, and I think we should be more accepting and open to that in people. But I also know people who did some shitty shit, and they weren't sorry at all. And they might have gotten, better or worse. I don't know. So let's take Louis at his word and say he is very, very sorry, and he does not do that anymore. The question I want to ask is it still okay to like his material? Is it still okay to like his body of work? It depends. I really do. Like, yeah, the jokes about how much he loves masturbating has a new angle now. It's got a new, there's a layer of oof on that. But that wasn't all of his material. I really do think, one of my favorite things in stand-up is when you can take a highbrow concept and keep what's highbrow about it, like keep what's smart about this concept, but reduce the delivery mechanism, reduce the way you talk about it as dumb as possible. I think South Park is a great example of this, especially the movie Team America World Police. It won't be for everybody. But that movie is a post-9/11 political satire musical with marionette puppets. Like I said, not for everybody. It is exactly for me, though. And that movie talks about the military-industrial complex, the way the media propagandizes, one side versus another. American exceptionalism and nationalism, these are all like stuff that's really like complicated to talk about. And they made a movie with puppets. Fuck, that's mwah. And that's what I felt like Louis did. Louis would talk about, the human experience in a way that was like intellectual and profound, but he did it in a way with the oh shit, God. I want to do this. Like it had this like everyman energy. When you wake up feeling like a piece of shit and you got like buffalo wings on your chest, you want to fucking die. I hate everything. Oh, my kids are calling. I hate my fucking kids. Like, if you embody that energy into a person and that guy walked around, I'm sure he'd be an asshole to everybody he's ever encountered. That's not what we're here to discuss. I wouldn't hang out with Louis at a party. I wouldn't go get lunch with the guy unless he called. Like I say this about a lot of comics. If I met you in the wild, would I be your friend? Of course not. What's great about stand-up is when everybody has that through line. Everyone can talk about, jokes and their perspective. It's like we all use the same mechanisms to be heard, be understood, be funny, be accepted, And look, there's other shitty reasons to do stand-up. Those are the nice reasons to do stand-up. If you do stand-up for other reasons, that's fine. But these are the noble reasons to do stand-up. Some people do just do it to get rich. Some people do just do it to get pussy, Or dick. Hey. Yeah, I don't know. Female comics probably don't have to do stand-up to get laid. It is like ego as well, like getting up in front of a crowd and being able to make them laugh, like against their will, And that's why I think comics love to push the envelope. George Carlin used to always say, what you want to do is you want to purposefully cross the line, but then make the audience happy that you did it. And all these comics who love just saying slurs because they think slurs is funny. Like, no, you're missing the second part of that. You have to make them happy that you did it. And Louis had some material about that kind of language that was very, very Carlin-esque, I feel like. Because George Carlin would always talk about like the weight of language, the tool, the utility that language is. And a lot of his bits were about like the dumbing down or overcomplicating of language to hide the true meaning, Jokes about language. George Carlin did the 730 words you can't say on TV. That was a bit that was profound at the time because he was bashing the current conservative, media environment. And those 730 words at the time were shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits, I believe. Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits. Yes. I don't think I missed any. Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits. Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, tits. Yeah, you see how that's poetry, baby. And Louis, you know, in the era that stand-up was in, you know, the raunchy underground place it was in post the 90s and the early 2000s, yeah, he did jokes about the F-slur and the N-word. They're hard to watch today, but I think they hold up. I'm not going to do the bits. I'm not going to cut to them, you know, but what are the bits about? The bit about the F-slur was, and I think South Park even did a bit about this, like back before it was, you know, gay culture was really popularized, you know, a lot of people didn't even know what being gay was. I mean, yeah, they're being ignorant, but, you know, that's what happens when, you know, things aren't as mainstream as they are today. And she goes, I didn't even know it was about gay people. I thought they were just being, like, I would never say that to a gay person. Oh my God. Here I am doing the bit, goddammit.
I'm not gonna do the bits.
It's like I can walk into a room and see two guys, but if one of them, you know, goes, people from Phoenix are called Phoenician, I'd be like, ma. Like, is that bit hateful? No. But do people who use that language willy-nilly in social situations who don't care about the impact of that word, is that hateful? Yes. And are those two things I said back to back a nuanced thing to believe at the same time? Yeah, it's hard being me. Straight white man. I'm fine. My burdens are not race or gender related. It's trauma, baby. The bit he does about the N-word. He thinks people who say, like, N-word instead of the word, like, you're still saying it, you're just not, you know, accepting the responsibility anymore. N-word, you know? Like, I know what you mean, I say it in my head, you're making me say it, take some responsibility. I even think Patton Oswalt had a similar take on language. You know, if he was gonna hang out with two people and the other person didn't say any slurs but didn't think, you know, people could get married, and the other guy was like, yeah, sure, why can't get married? I'd rather hang out with the second guy. And I think the point of all those bits, and I think, you know, the point that a lot of stand-ups who defend that type of material but don't think that hard, you know, some comics just want to be like, I could say whatever I want, and I find that deeply annoying. Yes, you could say whatever you want, but the audience can get mad at you, and that's allowed too, asshole. If you're doing jokes with language and you don't do those jokes understanding the weight of that language, like, you can't take the piss out of something if you don't know how much piss is in it. And that's a tightrope walk that I do feel like Louis was able to balance, you know, and that's hard. You know, that's why the Mark Twain Award exists. I don't know if he's received that award, but
Well, I haven't looked into it too much, but
that's the kind of work that the Mark Twain Award should go to. God, I'm getting chills. Look at these fucking, dude, these are, I talk about stand-up for 10 goddamn seconds, I get chills, goddammit. You know, he also had jokes, you know, about his kids, about his divorce, about life. You know, it was so relatable and it was so profound, but it was also so dumbed down that anybody could, you know, gravitate towards it. Oh God, one of my favorite bits that he used to do. He was on one of the first flights that had in-flight Wi-Fi.
And then it breaks down, and they apologize, the internet's not working. The guy next to me goes, this is bullshit.
What are you didn't know that existed 10 seconds ago, and now you're entitled to it? Because you're in an airplane. You're going from New York to California in 3 hours. That used to take 30 years. You would like hike all the whole, people would be born and die on the way there. You'd be like a different group of people by the time you got to California. And now you just watch like an Adam Sandler movie and take a big runny dump and you're there. And this guy's in there like, this is bullshit. Like, my seat, it's not, I can't. You're flying. You're flying. Like, you know when your like flight is like 45 minutes delayed and you get back to your place? Like, people think that's a story. They were like, oh, it was 45 minutes delayed. People are doing dishes like, oh my God, what? It got delayed? Are you kidding me? Like, he's like, my phone, I got a new phone, but it's shitty and bad. I hate my phone. It's going to space. Can you give it a second to come back from space? That wasn't the exact bit, you know? I Jake Weddled it up. But the reason I can probably do that word for word is because I resonate with the truth behind that bit. Is people live in a society that is amazing. And they find shit to complain about and ruin their day. You know, it's an optimistic bit. I don't know if you called them first world problems or white people problems. He said people in other countries have actual problems. Like they're cutting all of our heads off today, you know? And here you're like, my phone doesn't. I had to pick a language on the ATM. I don't know. I just feel like Louis CK's body of work is one of those bodies of work that is so influential, that is so impactful, that is so just genuinely really good. I don't know, man. I hear people blasting Billie Jean every other week, you know? I'm sure Drake fans still exist. I don't know, man. It seems like some people are uncancelable and some people are very easy to cancel. You know, Louis didn't do a war crime. And I don't think that takes away from the impact the bad things had. Because the bad things did have impact. You know, people were hurt. People were hurt in a fucked up way. But I think that's the same reasons he was able to do those jokes where he knew the impact of language. I think that's the same way he was able to do jokes with the impact about his negative actions. Because Louis CK understands the weight of stuff before he jokes about it. I don't think he came out, was like, yeah, I did that shit. Isn't it funny? Ha ha ha. I had a right to do that shit. I did nothing wrong. He was like, no, I was a piece of shit and I did a bad thing. And the jokes were honestly at his expense. Like the joke I do with my dad. That's my trauma. You know, like that's for me to joke about. And I always thought like if, like I know comedians who were sexually assaulted and they have bits about their sexual assault in their act. I have bits about sexual assault in my act. I used to go to college campuses and do bits about date rape, but it was always at the expense of the rapist. I was always making fun of frat culture. I was making fun of the fact that college campuses kind of let this happen in a way. And it was never at the expense of the people at the bottom of the situation, never punching down, punching up, that's a thing you hear. And so I would go to college campuses and do these bits. Oh my God, that's like doing black material at the Apollo, okay? Whoa. But the bit about my dad, I tried really, really hard to make sure that bit wasn't at the expense of, punching down. I made fun of my dad. The jokes were about my dad. And my dad is my trauma, and that's what I'm allowed to talk about. It gave me the power instead of the thing. If I can make jokes about it, then it's not scary. That's not minimizing, Like I took a bad thing, and then I can make a room full of people laugh while being understood, That's fucking amazing. And so I think for Louis to understand that bad things happened, that were the cause of him, he caused those bad things. And so I think if Louis has the capacity to understand he did a bad thing and feel the weight of that, and do the due diligence and do the steps, and then come back with material about that doesn't minimize. What are the crux of his bits? It's always check in, make sure you have consent. Like those are the points. That's amazing. He's like, look, if anybody can do a PSA about making sure you got consent, hey brother, that's awesome. So do I think Louis CK is a bad person? I think that's a weird parasocial assumption I would make. I never met the guy, I know his body of work. I saw what was in the news, and I've seen him on a few podcasts. I can't make that call. But is his stand-up still good? Absolutely. Is he still one of the greatest to ever do it? Yeah, I think so. And is having nuanced takes about what it means to be a good person and what it means to enjoy media and even stand-up in general. Is nuance dead on the internet? You bet your sweet ass it is. But that's okay, because I do think everyone is allowed to have opinions and believe things and say things as long as you're being fucking respectful. So if you agree with me, disagree, I'd love to hear about it. Please tell me why in the comments down below. Like and subscribe, all that jazz. Appreciate you.
I like jerking off. I don't like being alone. That's all I can tell you. I get lonely. Where is everyone? It's just sad. I like company. I like to share. I'm good at it, too. If you're good at juggling, you wouldn't do it alone in the dark. You would gather folks and amaze them. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that shit.